Welcome to day 2 of the Flying to 50K Months Masterclass. So Monday was day 1. We went over growing to 10,000 cash months. Today we're talking about growing to 50K cash months. Friday is our last day, third and final day, where we're going to be talking about sustaining 50K plus cash months. So if you watch the replay and you are here, let me know what's been dropping in with you. Let me know what's been landing with you. We have a VIP tier for this masterclass, and I've been sending audio riffs. We've been going back and forth. It's been extremely powerful in there. If you would like the link, some of you signing up for Heart of Sales, which is my signature sales program. This is going to be such an incredible program. We're starting in 2 weeks. And this is truly the program where it is the core focus, and the way that I built this program is everything you need to know to build a massive, beautiful, influential brand, understanding sales magnetism and wealth energetics. This is a signature program inside my brand. I've waited a long time to call something my signature sales program, and that's exactly what Heart of Sales is. You can join the program, or you can join the VIP mastermind tier, where you will get lots of hands-on support from me, close proximity. We're doing back and forth mentorship, and you get content audits. It's going to be lots of in-depth support. So that's Heart of Sales. Hi, Steph. So I'm so excited you all are jumping on. This is day 2. We're talking about growing to 30K cash months. And if anyone is thinking about jumping into Heart of Sales, you have questions, you want further details, send me a message. We'll talk about it. It's also linked in my bio if you'd like to just read through the main page for Heart of Sales and you really want to get a good feel of whether or not this is the program for you. I mean, sales is a skill that we are going to be cultivating throughout the entire history of our business, right? Sales is the oxygen of our business. This is what keeps our business alive. And sales is a skill that we get to develop and build and evolve in over time. Sales is something that we get to experiment with and play with. It's both energetic and practical, right? You are being a certain person when you are in your salesperson identity, when you are being a salesperson, right? No matter how great of a mentor you are, no matter how great of your services, your offers are, and I know for all of you that is great. It's so good, right? Your clients give you the most incredible feedback that blows your mind. Sales is being able to articulate that and to be able to bring in the right people, the aligned people who are meant to experience. That's what sales is, right? It's connecting your craft, your artistry to the people who are meant to experience it, who see the value of it. Sales is not convincing and going out of your way, and making it this really complicated thing. Sales is actually meant to be magnetic. Sales is meant to be this art of attraction. And that's what I'm teaching inside the Heart of Sales. So the price is going up after today. So after Wednesday midnight, the price rises from $13.33 to $18.88. Okay, so if you're feeling the pull, you can send me a message, you can DM me, you can just jump in if you're ready to go through the link in my bio. This is the last chance that you'll have to jump in at the $13.33 rate. And if you'd like to jump into the VIP mastermind, we've got a couple spots left for that. It's going to give you so much more close proximity, mentorship, opportunity to do back and forth coaching. If you're in the Coven or Magic Mind, you get a special rate. So make sure you DM me for that and I'll get you the link. And we start very soon. The mastermind starts next week. Heart of Sales starts in 2 weeks. All right. So we're moving. All right. Okay. Let's talk about maintaining $30,000 cash months, shall we? So $30,000 a month. First of all, let's just take a moment for that. while I sip my water. $30,000 was the most money I made before I started my business. This was my yearly income. Okay, like, can we just put this into perspective? That was like the most money I ever made. Like, when I was making the most money, when I was doing my day job and I had like multiple side hustles, that was the most money I made in an entire year. And when I started my business a couple months in, I want to say like 3-4 months in, something like that, I had hit a $30,000 month. And then shortly after that, I hit a $52,000 month cash. So $30,000, when you're making $30,000 every single month, right? And then you're looking to expand that and to grow that. This is really about your influence. It's about your power. We're also going to talk about more of the practical. This is monthly recurring revenue, right? This is a mixture of new sales and monthly recurring revenue. So $30,000 cash months, money is attracted to those who are in influence and in their power, right? Power is something that is felt. It is a felt frequency. It's you knowing who you are, right? So at 30K cash months, your identity is not just, I'm starting and I'm not really sure who I am. I don't really know what my brand is. You have a certain type of understanding and intentionality with everything you're doing at $30,000 cash months, right? This is a level of identity that you are stretching yourself into that is beyond anything that you've done before. And I want you to see that pattern. Every time your income stretches, it's a byproduct result of you stretching, right? Because there's also a reality where someone can be making, let's just take our example and training from day one, that's $10,000 months. Someone could be making $10,000 months and feel really comfortable in it, right? That might cover their bills. It might cover the expenses that they need to pay, right? Like maybe have a little bit left over depending on your lifestyle and what kind of things that you need to pay for if you have kids, things like that. But someone could be really comfortable there, right? It's like some people in your life might ask you, why do you need to make more? Shouldn't you be happy with what you have? But when you're growing from $10,000 cash months to $30,000 cash months and 50 and beyond, it's not need. And we actually have to train ourselves out of that thought of need. That is when you start making magic money, is when you start shifting from need and provider money into the delusional magic money that's like more money than you'll ever need to have, right? Like you have a certain number that is going to cover groceries and bills and rent and your kids' school tuition or, like food, whatever it is that you need to just kind of keep your life running, right? That's a certain number. And most of the time, when we're used to making a specific paycheck that is a certain type of money that we get every 2 weeks, that is a type of receiving, like that's a relationship to money where it's like you got it, it covers the bills, you're good, you work, you get paid for exactly the time that you work, you get the exact money that covers the bills and the expenses, and you do it over and over and over again. But when we're talking about what I call delusional money, what I call overflow money, what I call opening the floodgates type of money, it's very different. And it does require a version of you. Let me close this. It does require a version of you that requires you to stretch in your power and in your identity and in your influence, right? There's a version of you because like I was saying just a second ago, someone can be very comfortable making something like $10,000 cash months, right? That can become a very comfortable rhythm, right? I make $10,000 cash months. It covers the bills, right? This is how much money I make and it goes towards this and this and that. And then they don't stretch themselves. So their money either stays kind of around the same or it might even start to dip because you're not challenging yourself. You're not expanding yourself. You're not constantly growing and being on the edge of something new. So your money, even though it might be good money, right? And it covers the bills, it's still just provider money. It's still just comfortable money. So around $30,000 cash months, this is where people around you might start saying things like, well, why do you need more? Why can't you just be happy with the money that you are making? Why do you always have to keep going up these levels, right? It's because that's who you are. And there are a lot of people who are going to live their lives living paycheck to paycheck, living the 9-to-5 style, right? Living as an employee who are never going to be able to wrap their heads fully around what it is that you do and the ambition that you have, right? Because here's the thing for you, and if you're anything like me, it's about the money because you love making money. We all, as entrepreneurs, love making money. And at the same time, it is also you being the biggest version of yourself in this lifetime. So because you know that money is connected to power, your personal power, unconditional power, unwavering power, if you know that money is connected to your influence, your sacred influence, the way that you show up and move the masses, the way that you learn to command money, that sparks a fire in you that makes you want to go, I want to see how big I can be in this life. I want to see how big I can be, how big I can grow, how massive I can be in this lifetime. Not because I have to, not because anyone's telling me I need to, but because it's for me. And because I'm so deeply connected to my mission, I have people that I want to powerfully serve. Remember, day one, the training for growing to $10,000 months is powerfully serving your people and being powerfully in your identity. That's not just for $10,000 months. That's for a foundational baseline of what you continue to create higher and higher and higher and higher cash months, right? So for you, when you're growing to $30,000 cash months, you have to have a different type of mindset, right? You can still get by around 10K, telling yourself you're not really sure what you're doing, or telling yourself that you're still like navigating things and you're still figuring out, what you offer and being able to offer a level of clarity and articulation in your messaging. Like, there are some things that can still kind of feel wobbly at $10,000 cash months, and you'll still make that amount of money. But to get from $10,000 to $30,000 a month, there has to be a jump in the way that you see yourself, which means you're no longer just being one of the big shifts that I see needs to happen is, instead of just being a good student and someone who follows the rules and looks at what other people are doing and looks for the right thing to do, you are CEO. At $30,000 months, you are showing up in a way where your mentor's never done anything like that. The people around you, your peers, the people that you grow your business with, they're not doing anything like that. You are creating a blue ocean of your own. You are creating a way of running your business that is so uniquely connected to your power. Because here's the thing. What worked for somebody else worked for somebody else. You have to discover what it is that is the thing for you. And that might shift over and over and over again, right? But you also have to be in that identity of like, I'm not just here to be a copy and paste version of someone else. I've invested in trainings. I'm in continue to do at $30,000 cash months. This is when you should be in higher level mentorship and higher level masterminds, right? And I do see a lot of people stay at the 10K mark, the 5K mark, right? They're making like multi 5 figures because they haven't upped their level of mentorship. They're still in like a program that they got lifetime access to 3 years ago. Or they're buying trainings that's just kind of keeping them where they are. And they're continuing to make money, which is great. So good. That's important. But they're not in a mentorship space that's actually going to evolve them. That's what happens inside private mentorship and high-level mastermind spaces. So that's the mentorship conversation when growing to $30,000 cash months. And I've had women jump into my masterminds and immediately make 5 figures, and their course wasn't even selling beforehand. They weren't even making any sales, right? Or they were making sales and it was like kind of like this. And then once they jump into my work, they get mentored by me, consistent 5-figure cash months, right? Or like their launches would sometimes go well, sometimes not. Couldn't really figure out why. As soon as we start mentoring, multi 5-figure cash on repeat every single launch. $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. It happens all the time. I worked with a money coach in my mastermind in a previous round, and she couldn't get her messaging to stick, and there were a couple other things, and her program wasn't really selling. As soon as we started working together, $30,000 cash month. It was $30,000, and it just kept going. It was like instant. It was instant, right? Yes, Mercedes said that's my heart's desire. So when you are placing yourself at the level of mentorship where someone's going to stretch you, someone has close proximity with you, so you can't just kind of get away standing in the back, just kind of doing your own thing. No one's really seeing what you're doing. You're just kind of doing the same thing over and over, and you're just coasting by, and no one really knows what's going on inside your business. That doesn't cut it in a high-level mentorship space, because you've got a mentor who's all up in your business telling you what's going on over here. What's the evaluation for this? Right? Why are you not stretching yourself? Here's the reason you're not making more money right now, right? And my high level clients are like, thank you. That's what I needed, right? And I'm the exact same way. I don't want to work with a coach who's just going to kind of go. I want to be told exactly why I'm not making more money, right? And that's exactly what I do with my clients. I can have one conversation with them and tell them exactly why they're not at their dream income, and what exactly they'll need to do, who they'll need to be to get there. That's the work that I do. So that's what's happening at $30,000 cash months. What's also happening? At $10,000 cash months, it's a lot of time, right? You're putting in the time, you're putting in the reps, you're coaching consistently, you're getting people in the door, you are building your reps. Okay, that's what's happening. You are putting in the work, you're getting people in front of you, you're coaching them, you're learning, you're expanding, you're learning to become a masterful coach and mentor. So when you grow from $10,000 cash months to $30,000 cash months, you grow from time to value. Where you might have charged 1 hour or per hour when you were making $10,000, you're not calculating that when you're making $30,000 cash months. It does not matter what the hour is. You're not calculating, this is my hourly rate times this many calls, but they also get Telegram support. No. It's the value of being in your space. So this is where it's not necessarily mathematically logical, because your time now, because you've put in so many hours, you have so much experience, you've served so many different people, you've gotten people results, time collapses. So it's not even about the time. You are valuable on a whole different playing field. Working with you is collapsing time for them, right? And you're getting better and better and better at your craft, at your art. So no longer is it I'm charging an hourly rate and this is how much you're going to pay because we have X amount of calls together. It's this is the price, and this I'm pricing it based on the value that my best client sees it as. I'm pricing this program, my one-on-ones, based on the value that my best client sees. That is one of the biggest differences between $10,000 a month to $30,000 a month is you are growing from just charging time to value, right? You've studied your clients. You understand what gets them results. Like I remember I was sharing this in the VIP Telegram. When I started my business, it was like it was like sales call after sales call after sales call after sales call. I was creating content. Lives weren't even a thing. I went on IGTV. I would record these videos for 10 minutes, 20 minutes every single week. Every single Friday, I dropped trainings on my stories. I did story takeovers where I would take over somebody's stories and teach a training, and they would do the same thing on mine so I can get in front of new audiences. Before I even started my business and I was a beauty blogger wanting to collaborate with brands and wanting to connect with other beauty bloggers and influencers, my daughter was still in a stroller. So I'd push her in one hand, and on one hand I'd have my phone. I'd be scrolling down hashtags. I'll be leaving genuine comments. I'd be following a bunch of people. I'll be looking at other types of content. I'd be screenshotting the looks that I wanted to recreate. Like I put in so many reps. And then when I started my coaching business, I offered free coaching sessions. I worked with people for free. I offered beta programs where I got work in exchange for like testimonials. Like I went out and met people in person. I went on different platforms. There was like this platform that was audio only. Oh my God, I don't remember what it's called now. I'll probably think about it later, but I tried that. I was on TikTok, right? Like I did so many different things where I just put in so much time. And then when you are putting in so much intentional time and you're making powerful decisions and you're showing up powerfully from that place, it compounds, meaning it comes back to you. Right? There's a reason why I can drop a free masterclass and have hundreds of people sign up for it literally within like a couple of days, because I had $0 launches and people who said no after no after no after no, and I learned how to hold that. So I'm okay when someone tells me no. I'm okay when I know how to hold my emotions. Right? That's the emotional intelligence piece of this. I'm not afraid to feel any emotion. I'm not afraid to feel rejection. I've come on live and people have left nasty comments while I'm on live. Delete it, keep going, keep doing the training. I'm focused, right? I know how to process my emotions. So no matter what happens, I get right back up. I fall down, I get right back up. That is an identity I've built over 5 years. Right? And even longer than that, if you're counting all the like beauty blogging and all the content creation days, that was like 2014. So it's been 10 years that I've been showing up and creating videos and talking to the camera, right? And like getting comfortable in my skin and getting uncomfortable with the emotions that come up for me. So at $30,000 cash months, your identity piece here, we're going to go into monthly recurring revenue and some of the more practical sales strategy. But right here, the identity piece is you have evolved from seeing yourself as a $10,000 a month earner. You are now a leader. Like at $30,000 cash months, people are talking about you, right? People are talking about you. They're talking about your work. Your work is becoming well known. Like you might have a signature process or a signature program, or you might have certain clients that like they're talking about you to their people and the people they work with. And it's like you're becoming a leader, a well-known person. Right? At $30,000 cash months, this is when people are signing with you again and again, right? You're starting to see those repeat clients that are coming back into your world. They don't just want to buy one thing. You don't go into your favorite store and just go in there once to buy one thing. No, you go into your favorite store over and over and over and over again. You make a special trip out there. You save up money and you do it on your favorite, your birthday, or you do it on a weekend with your friends. You're over and over and over again, you're back there, right? You know the staff, you know the people. You might have a favorite hotel that you like staying at or a favorite restaurant. You don't go to your favorite restaurant one time and buy one meal. You go back on anniversaries and on like special days, graduation, right? It's like a special moment when you go to your favorite restaurant and you order your favorite meal or you try something different. And it's like you come back over and over and over. And that's how you know you've built a powerful brand, is when one client wants to buy everything. They want closer proximity with you. They want to spend more time with you over here. They want to be inside this program. They want to be inside the mastermind. Right? Like, this is such an important piece of this work, is that we're not just selling to brand new people all the time. It's people who want to stay in your world long term, right? Like my Magic Mind clients, they get access to all of the programs that I run, right? I'm teaching hard sales. They've been excited about it for months, right? They're so excited. They get immediate access to it. When I was creating Rogue Launch, I was letting them know in the back end, I'm building my signature launching program. They're so excited. As soon as it's live, they get access to all the live calls and they rewatch it every single time they launch, right? They got access to Business Activation Academy, which is my signature foundational business program, right? They still go back and watch those modules, even though I created them back in like 2022. Right? Like my mastermind clients get excited because they get access to everything on top of mentorship with me. And by the way, if you would like to jump into the mastermind and you're a better fit for that, you get access to Heart of Sales. So you can get Heart of Sales on its own, or you can jump into the mastermind and you can get it as part of being inside the mastermind. Right? On top of mentorship with me, the sisterhood, right? The private Slack space, being mentored in a close proximity, in a small group, and access to all of the programs, all of the things, right? That's my highest level space. That's why the mastermind is getting insane results all the time, because they get access to every single one of my programs and they get the additional mentorship and calls with me. Okay, so when we're talking about $30,000 cash funds, this typically comes from both new sales and recurring revenue, right? You can make $10,000 with all new sales. Doesn't take that much to do that, right? You can make $10,000 with all new sales. $30,000 a month is typically a mix of repeat buyers, which is people who come back and buy from you over and over again, and a mix of new sales, right? So when you're creating and stacking monthly recurring revenue, this is through a building out, and this happens in time based on how you want your product suite to evolve and the work that you're doing, right? If you jump into the Heart of Sales VIP Mastermind, we're gonna co-create this together, and what your like next offer and dream product suite could look like that makes you the most money. But right now, it's like when you are thinking about the way that your product suite evolves and you're ready for monthly recurring revenue because you already have people coming back for offers over and over again, this is a great time to introduce something like an all access pass, membership, a subscription model, right? Or something like a higher level mastermind, something like a higher level group program where people get access to all of your programs. They get access to all the things that you're doing, especially if you're someone that likes creating lots of offers, lots of micro offers and bigger offers, right? So doesn't it make more sense to have someone pay you consistently on a monthly rate? They get access to everything. If they're already buying it all the time anyway, doesn't it make sense for them to just jump into your all access pass or your mastermind, right? So $30,000 months, that's when you start looking at your product suite and you start asking yourself, are there ways that I'm maybe leaving money on the table? And really quickly here, I want to come back to this, but if you're thinking in your head, okay, Tiffany, but I don't feel like I'm very close to $30,000 cash months right now, right? Maybe you've hit it and you've come back down, or maybe your income fluctuates a little bit, or maybe you haven't hit close to a 30K cash month. What I want you to know right now is you create 30K cash months and beyond by embodying this level of identity first. This is really important because I wasn't aiming for a 30K cash month when I first hit it. I was just focusing on, I'm trying to remember. I don't think, I might have like written it down in like I used to do, complete side note, I used to have this like manifestation journal where every single month in the beginning of the month, I would like write out like how I wanted to feel and what I wanted to create. And sometimes I would add like a number just to see like, okay, am I going to hit it? Am I not going to hit it? I actually remember, and I posted this to my stories, I think the first time that I wanted to aim for a $30,000 cash month, I actually ended up with $52,000. So the thing is, and what I want you to know, and what we're really doing inside the heart of sales, is the universe doesn't necessarily register exact dollar amounts, right? There's also tons of different currencies. There's just like everything's energy, okay? So the universe understands energy. So when you are an energetic match to someone who makes approximately $30,000, you could pop the fuck off and make a $50,000 cash month instead, like I did. I wanted to make six figures my first year of business. I popped off and made over $200,000 my first year in business. I had no idea that was possible. That wasn't necessarily a goal. The stretch goal that would have blown my mind as a struggling single mom living off of food stamps would have been six figures. And I made over $200,000 the first year in business. So I want you to know that there is no, like, you don't have to set this goal and then figure out how to plan out how to get to that goal. And like, it doesn't need to look like that. Okay. When you get yourself into the identity and the leadership, the power of the person who makes $30,000 cash months, like you're being that person, you don't actually have to climb the ladder from 20K to 25K to whatever. You can actually just jump and you might find yourself at 40,000 or 50,000 or 60,000. So what I want to drive home here is when you focus on the identity so powerfully, you focus on who you're being so powerfully, the money is going to be a direct byproduct of that, of who you're being, of what you're creating. Okay? And that's a really important way of understanding this, especially if your brain is going, I'm not close to that yet, so this isn't for me. No. It is for you. It is for you because when you allow yourself to step into that level of identity now, that's actually what calls it in faster, right? Versus like waiting for the universe to show you, waiting for the universe to tell you that it's here, then you can believe, then you're fully secure in it. It's like you need to find the security and the power within you now so that you call it in, right? You get to command money to come to you. You get to shift the way that it looks from the inside out. Okay? So when you're making $30,000 cash months, your identity is so rock solid. Like this is where you really take the identity work really, really, really seriously. If you haven't already at $10,000 cash months, $30,000 cash months is where you can, like, it's gonna reflect onto you and the people around you, how you see yourself, okay? So at this point, you might have people talking about you. You might have family talking about you. You might have people making posts about you, right? This is the most money that you've made. You might be talking about the money. You might be talking about what you've created. And there's going to be people who don't necessarily understand that. You are going to be setting yourself apart because of who you're being and what you're creating. And that gets to be a really good thing, right? There are going to be people who just don't get it. And either you decide whether or not you want them in your life, or you decide not to share certain things with them because they're not doing this work and they're not evolving themselves the way that you are. So this means that your standards and your boundaries in life and in business need to be tightened up based on who has access to you, based on what you want to create, because you know that your energy, your identity is so powerful. And if you know that, and you know that who you allow into your spaces and the behavior that you experience on a daily basis, like if you know that you want to protect that, right? So either you build up the tolerance to have these conversations with people, which isn't always the best use of your time, or you just learn to create a higher level of standards and boundaries around your time, your communication, how you spend your time on a day-to-day, because you know that everything you're doing is going to be reflected in your life, in your business. It's all going to show up in some way. Okay. $30,000 cash months is also where you're tightening your standards and your boundaries with the clients that you're working with. So at the 10K level, you might have been able to get away with working with clients that are draining you. They're not fully aligned with you. You're saying yes a lot because you're wanting to make as much money as possible. Maybe you're jumping on sales calls a lot at the 10K price point or the 10K cash month income level. But at $30,000 cash months, you are really starting to scale your business in a different way. So you're going to have to restructure, maybe not everything. You might be able to keep a lot of the foundational things that you've built, like a signature program and your higher level clients and, you know, some of the systems. And you might not need to jump in and get a team right away if you can still manage what you're managing at $30,000 cash months. But you may need to shift the level of clients that you're working with, because at the 10K level, you might have said yes to everybody. I want to work with you. Yes, absolutely. Oh, I want to work with you. Okay, yes. Oh, I want to jump on a call with you. Absolutely. Right? 10K a month, you can still kind of get away with that type of behavior. At $30,000, it's really going to start not being able to cut it. And then at $50,000, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So at $30,000 cash months, you want to start looking at, okay, who are the types of clients? Like, what is the load? What are the offers? Like, what needs to be tightened up here? Does this mean a different type of client, right? And especially when you're getting to you're jumping from the 10K to the 30K price point, you have a really good understanding of your coaching abilities, like your service provider abilities. You know now where your strength lies. You know what your power is. You know where your value is. So at 10K a month, you might still be playing around with tons of different offers, and you might launch this and that, and then this over here, and then that thing over there. And they might all just kind of be all over the place. But at $30,000 cash months, you know what you bring to the table. You know what your specialty or specialties are, right? Like, you know what it is that you love teaching and you love having these conversations. They make you so excited. And you know what types of clients excite you, the types of clients who see the value in the work that you're doing, the types of clients that see you are the mentor, you are the coach for them, right? So it's less like, you get less people ghosting you in the DMs. You get less like having to convince people. Because at this point, because you know what you offer, your messaging should also be very, very dialed in as well. So you're attracting a higher level of person who's ready to move now. They're not like, yeah, I want to move, and then they disappear, right? They're not like, yeah, I'm so in, and then you never hear from them again. Or it's like, yes, I'm in, I want to do this, and then it turns into a no, right? That is typically because your content either feels all over the place or your energy and identity is not fully formed. So you stop attracting clients who are not really sure what they want when you know exactly who you are and what you want in a client, right? So this is where you might start filtering clients and start saying things like, I don't think you're ready for this program. Let me send you over here instead, right? So you might start building out tiers based on levels. So for example, me being a business coach, it's not always about their income, but sometimes it is, because that shows me who you are, right? How much money you're making, how much time you've put into developing your sales skills, getting mentored, I can always tell. So there's a certain type of person who thinks a certain type of way and acts a certain type of way and behaves in that way, right? And I can always tell. So there are certain people based on their identity, based on the money they've made, based on how they move in their business, that I want in a higher level space. And then there are people, and again, this doesn't always have to do with income, because there's also people who've made a lot of money, but their identity, their mindset, their frequency is still very, very low, right? So depending on who you serve and how you serve them, you're gonna have to distinguish this for yourself. But when I started to create $30,000 months was when I started to create offers that serve different people at different levels, okay? And so I allowed myself to then build a signature program. And once people were outgrowing that signature program, I created a mastermind. And the mastermind is either invite only or application only. So there are certain types of people that I let into certain spaces. This is intentional exclusivity. I teach this inside Magic Mind. This is intentional exclusivity, which is specific people in specific levels. And I'm very serious about that inside my work, which is why I have certain clients in certain spaces who get certain results, because I have divided up my levels in that way. Okay, so $30,000 cash months is where you are going to start to navigate those standards, those boundaries in your offers and your clients, where you might have given someone 24/7 Telegram access for 5 days. Maybe you cut it down to 4, right? Or you start shifting your boundaries based on what you told someone, or you told a program, like, this is how much access you get to me. You actually cut that down. So this is where you start making those decisions based on who you're being and how you're expanding. Okay, $30,000 cash months is where you are really starting to expand your business in a way that you never have before. And what got you here isn't going to be what gets you there. So if you're aiming for $1 million a year, that's going to look very different than when you were making 6 figures a year. Right? And that can actually happen very quickly. Like, it doesn't need to be the slow progression to 7 figures a year. Like, that can happen very, very quickly. But it does have to come with tightening things up, just like your client access, right? Like, I remember I used to do some like coaching in the DMs when I first started my business. That absolutely wouldn't cut it. If someone asks me a coaching question, I'm not responding in the DMs. That's not something that happens, right? My team might respond to them and say, you know, and reinforce my boundaries, but I'm not going back and forth and coaching you in the DMs. That's against my own standards, right? Especially if I have like 20 people expecting coaching from me. Like, my coaching is for people inside my paid containers, inside those paid spaces. So there may even be people who reach out to me in the DMs, but they're inside a different program space where they actually get coaching on Telegram or they get coaching on Slack. So I just reiterate, hey, this is where you ask for coaching, right? I'm not coaching in the DMs. So that's really important, is you really have to tighten up and keep to your specific standards, your specific boundaries that you have around certain offers, around certain programs. And that allows you to keep your energy super clean so that you can focus on the work that you need to do in order to serve your clients powerfully, right? See how this is going back to the foundation that I talked about on day one. Getting to $10,000 is building the foundation, right? It doesn't always need to look exactly how it looked, but it's building a sustainable foundation for clients, for serving your clients powerfully, and also being in your powerful identity, all right? Also, you could have floated through making $10,000 a month, right? Because everything feels very new. Everything feels very honeymoon stage. Everything feels very like, oh my God, I just made $10,000 in a month and that's the most money I've ever made. And it's blowing my mind. Like, oh my goodness, who am I right now? Like, someone call Hollywood or tell Hollywood to call me, right? Like, this is the time where it's like, it just feels so brand new and so shiny and so exciting and everything's happening. And it feels like it's all just like coming undone, right? Like you're seeing more success and more money than you've ever made, right? This is also the time where it can feel really easy to self-sabotage and say something like, I just need to ground myself, or I need to like go and take some time on my own, right? Or I need to like figure out how to process all of this, right? And then people will disappear and they'll have these high cash months, but then they're not able to hold it. They go away for a little bit, or they're not able to own up to their responsibilities. And then they like change. They're like, oh, this is where I actually need to start learning about funnels, right? It's like, whoa, you are trying to change everything that's been working, right? You want to switch everything up when you're making the most money that you've made because you're trying to keep up with the momentum. But the only thing that actually causes you to lose momentum is when you stop, you look back, and you ask, how do I keep up the momentum? So you don't actually need to ground yourself. You don't actually need to stop and process. You don't actually need to take time to go and reflect. You can just keep going. Process the emotions. You can hold it. You can own it. I think the bigger thing here, actually, what's happening energetically, is truth is the highest frequency, right? So when we have something that feels so big, I was just sharing this actually, this exact analogy inside the VIP channel, which if you'd like to join that, please let me know. We've got some fire audio drops in there already. When you know the level of power that you hold, and when you know that there is something massive that you're meant to build inside this world, the tree casts, like the biggest tree casts the biggest shadow, and it creates this resistance. It's like, can I hold this? Is this okay? Am I allowed? Right? And I think part of why we experience this, especially as women, right? It's like 50 years ago that a woman could get her own credit card and start her own business without her husband. So men, they've historically been expected to be brave and hold a lot of money and go after and be ambitious. And for women, we've been conditioned to see other women as like, oh no, I don't do that, or I can't do that, or I don't know how to do that, right? Instead of like, yeah, I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah, it's actually me that's running the 7-figure business, right? Not my partner, right? Or like women being in first class and being asked like, oh, what does your husband do for a living, right? So it's newer that we as women, especially women of color, are coming into this position of power, right? Especially because historically, that's not something that we were allowed to hold and experience. So for women and for a lot of little girls, you're taught you can't actually hold that, or we don't have a lot of experiences, especially in this, like our current generation. We're starting to see it more and more, which is really beautiful, right? Women coming into power, women holding lots and lots and lots of money, right? Like instead of like, oh, I just need to be like the soft and sensitive, humble girl that like talks just like, I wanna make sure that I'm relatable. And I talk about like eating the rich and people who are so greedy. Like we're moving past that. As a generation, we're moving past that. There is a much more empowering way to look at attracting and holding large amounts of money where it's like, yes, I make that much money and I can hold that much money. And conversations around money and sitting at tables where people talk about money, it's not just conversations of lack and I don't have enough of it and I don't know how to hold it and I've maxed out all my credit cards. It's investing. It's which high level mastermind are you in? Right, that was literally a conversation I had at the dinner table, or like conversations I have with women who are also entrepreneurs. We're inside the same rooms together. We're being mentored together. It's like, what next big move? What are you planning next? What is your next project? What is the big program you're doing? Like these conversations around money have to expand in order for us to expand, right? So that starts with us. It's like, I want to attract the most conscious, delicious man, and yet I'm saying consistently that men aren't shit, right? And it's like, make that energetic match make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. So at $30,000 cash months, this is when like I started making this a couple months into my business. Not because I even knew to set this really as a goal, right? Other than that, like that the one time that I set it even as a goal, I surpassed it and made $50,000 cash months, because money is energy, wealth is energy. It has nothing, it's very little to do with what you're actually doing. Okay, it's very little. Does it matter? Yes, of course it matters. Okay, but it matters a lot less than you think. And a lot of people who are looking for, Tiffany, just tell me what to do, or that, like, what is the exact thing, right? And that's gonna look so different for every single person. And there's so many different ways to make $30,000 cash months, just like there's so many different ways to make $10,000 cash months. It happens all the time, right? People make 10K, they'll look back on their finances and be like, oh shit, I made 10K. Like that was beautiful, right? I didn't even know, or I wasn't even tracking it. So when you're making $30,000 cash months, it has to be this version of you that is like, you are elevated. Like you are fine with people misunderstanding you. You're fine with people saying things like, she's all about the money and she just wants to keep going higher and higher and she does this and that. And she, like, I've heard it all, both for myself and from my clients and their experiences. But when you're growing to $30,000 cash months and your next goal is $50,000 cash months and then six-figure cash months and then beyond, this has to be something that you are just okay with. You're just okay with people not fully understanding you, right? Because the thing that's going to hold you back is, I want people to understand. I want people to see me. I want people like, and I get it. It can be so painful when someone that you've known for a long time, or a family member, or your own mother, your own father, your own cousins and relatives make comments about you and what you're building and what you're creating, and they don't fully get it. They don't fully wrap their heads around what it is that you are doing and how ambitious you are, and they try to shame your ambition, right? So this is where your identity not only has to be like tightened boundaries and standards around who you're working with, but also in your life, in your leadership, the way you see yourself has to be beyond. It has to be beyond every single thing that you have allowed yourself to think about yourself in the past. It has to be a whole new identity. This is like you 2.0. To be able to hold the projections, the misunderstanding, people making posts about you, all of these things that are going to come eventually, right? Because there's always going to be a group of people who strive to be the biggest version of themselves in this lifetime. And there will always be a group of people who just talk about those people. Always. And I hope that this group becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller over time. But because we live in a world where one of the universal laws is the law of polarity, if there's something on this side, there's going to be something on the extreme. That's how it works, right? And there are people on either side that want to scream until their voices are hoarse. But that's the polarity of being human, okay? So when there is a group of people who are constantly striving to be the biggest version of themselves, there's always a group of people who just want to talk about these people. These people don't really talk about anyone else. They're so focused on what they're doing. But there's always going to be a group of people who want to talk about these people, okay? So when you're making $30,000 cash months, you have to know who you are at your core to where nothing anyone else says about you impacts you in that way. Do you process your emotions about it? Yes. Are your emotions valid around it? Absolutely. Right? But your processing time gets to be like that. Okay, right back into it. You're not taking days and days and days being upset and thinking about that comment and thinking about it. It will not cut it at $30,000 cash months, right? You don't have the time to do that. Your processing time, your emotional processing time, it needs to be literally in half, right? That's an entirely different conversation to know how to be at the level, like right now, like I gave the example of being on live the other day and someone left a nasty comment. That could have taken me out for the entire rest of the day. I was fine, continued on my training, didn't break a breath, kept going, didn't think about it afterwards. Right? This is not stopping me. I know who I am. I've also been doing this for 5 years, plus years, right? So my processing time, even when something really jarring happens and it like dysregulates my nervous system a little bit, give myself like an hour, maybe 2 hours. I know how to process it because what's actually happening, and my clients know this because I say it all the time, when someone's taking days and days and days and days going, I'm processing, you're not actually processing. You're numbing it. You're distracting yourself. You're doing something else. You're not actually processing. Processing your emotions doesn't take that long, right? You feel it, tap through it, you move through your body, you're good. Keep going, right? And most of the time, it's not big things. It's not like a tragedy has happened. Most of the time, it's small things trip us up. We get in our heads, we tell a story, we tell the narrative, and then we spin the narrative, and then we tell 10 people, and then we get on the phone about it, and then we're like, oh my God, why did this happen to me? And then we play the victim for 2 more days, and then finally we're like, oh, okay, and then we move on. It's like, we don't need to do all, like, cut that in half. You would make so much more money, and you would feel so much better, right? We cannot be the victim and the powerful leader at the same time. You have to pick one. I used to play the victim all the time. I loved it. It was like my favorite. It was my favorite job. It was like the most favorite thing that I would do is I'm the victim. Everyone else is to blame. I'm going to vilify this person because what I'm actually doing is I don't want to face what I don't want to face, which is my own emotions. So when you actually face your own emotions, you actually process your emotions. It doesn't actually take that long. And then you don't vilify somebody else for making you feel uncomfortable. You just process the uncomfortable emotions and then you keep it moving. And that is what allows you to make more money. to do the work that you're meant to be doing in this lifetime, which is not vilifying everyone else. Hi, Lily. Yes, we have a coven call coming very soon. Okay. Let me see. I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover today, this was a very jam-packed training. The last thing that I want to mention when you're making $30,000 cash months is you've already seen success in your business, right? You've already seen success in your business, and it can feel like when you were first starting and it was so exciting and everyone was excited for you. You're like, I'm going to start a business, and everyone's like, yeah, go for it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. But then you share your biggest cash win and you start to see people go, oh, congratulations. Oh, that's good for you. Okay, good. Right? People start to distance themselves a little bit from you. You're going to experience a lot of projections around the time that you're expanding. And a lot of people, especially us as women, this is why we need to build this up, okay? We need to be the type of leaders that can hold so much and not succumb to the people pleasing that we have been conditioned to succumb to. So what is happening is we start to see people's face fall a little bit. We start to see people feel bad about their own financial situation. So we try to make other people feel better. And then energetically what happens is we block more money. We block more money because we think that'll make us a better person. I want to be a good girl. I was conditioned to be a good girl. A good girl is good. She's humble. Everyone likes her. When I'm making so much money, I was taught to vilify rich people. And why do we even do that? We do that so that we keep at where we're at and feel happy about it. So in order to do that, in order to process our emotions, our uncomfortable emotions that someone's making more money than us, we say, oh, they're bad. They're bad for doing that. That's actually what they should be doing with their money. Right? We start to point fingers at like, oh, this person has that much money, they should be able to do this. Oh, this person has that much money, they should be able to fix that problem. It's like, it's so funny that we do this as a society. So what happens during this time is we start to see that we are making probably the most money out of everyone around us. And this can be very easy to start to shrink, okay? It can be very easy because you think back to like when I started, there were so many people who were excited for me. And then maybe on the strategic side, there were so many people who signed up for my offers. And now it's like, I'm pivoting and I shifted. I'm not doing what I did when I first started, not completely. I've evolved as a human, right? So I'm doing something different. I don't have that many people signing up as I used to. I'm going to have to build it up in a different way. People aren't as excited, right? And the people in my life aren't celebrating me as much because now they feel threatened or they're making it mean something about them. So I'm experiencing these projections, right? Especially if you're a 5-line. So then what happens is you start giving your power away, right? It's one thing to not have had made any money and you make more money than you've ever made and you're like, oh my God, you're blowing your own mind. It's another thing to have seen the success and you try to replicate it and it doesn't hit the mark. And then you're like, is there something wrong with me? Can I keep this up? Was I a one-hit wonder? What is happening? Am I good enough? This is typically what happens when you're attaching your worth to money. So you're giving your power away. This is around the time where you are going to be tested. Okay, I don't love that word. You can switch it out for something else. You're going to be challenged into being and seeing if you can hold higher levels of power and wealth in your identity, in your influence as the person that you're being, right? You're going to see where you're at energetically. And sometimes the universe will throw you a little income dip just to see if you become the person who starts to spiral. Am I good enough? What should I do? Should I look for a day job? Oh my gosh, is this unsustainable? What am I doing? Are all my clients going to leave me? And then what am I going to do? Am I going to spiral? Okay. Or you go the route of, okay, income is down a little bit. I can hold it. This doesn't mean anything about me. I'm okay. I am not worried because I know how to create money. I command money. This is wealth energetics. A lot of people, and again, this is not what we're taught, right? This is a skill that we have to build. And build and build and build and build and build. We're taught that money is some external force that when it comes, I'm so happy. And when it goes, oh my God, what am I going to do? Okay. What I'm teaching, especially inside Heart of Sales, is you command the money. You turn on the faucet to sales. Money bows to you. When I want to make money, I make money. Even when I'm not selling, I make money. Even when I'm not launching, I make money. I make money all the time. I eat 4 figures for breakfast every single day. I make money because I understand how money works. I understand that money doesn't just come to people who need it. I would have never been struggling as a single mom if that were the case. Money comes to people who have influence and power. Okay? So what I teach under this realm is sacred influence, sacred power. You connected to your heart space. That is the type of leader that we need. And those are the types of leaders that I work with. So when you understand how money moves, and we're talking about this inside the Heart of Sales, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second, it's never, is the money going to come? I'm going through a low income month, so I feel really out of my power. I can't invest in that thing that I want to do because clients aren't paying me. Do you see how every single one of these examples is us giving our power away to something else? Versus, I am the CEO. I am the leader. I create the money. I go out and create the money. I create the money by who I'm being. Money comes to me. I snap my fingers and money shows up. That's the relationship with money that I want you to have. And this is how the millionaires and billionaires think. They're never wondering, where is the money going to come from? They're just like, here's my big idea. Who wants to fund it? They know the money is there because they are money. That's how I want you to think. Not I'm wondering, okay, I'll wait. I'm going to just wait to see when the money shows up. And I'm not really sure when that is. But when that is, then I will feel powerful. Yay. No. That's not what I want for you. That's not the reality that I want for you. The reality that you get to have, and the reality, this is what has changed my entire life, is you being able to influence money. And it's also not by focusing on the money itself, okay? Because I can tell you right now that there have been people who have focused on the money and they're so deeply attached to the money, and they're upset or disappointed by their results because it was $300,000 and not $500,000, or it's a multimillionaire who's upset about their numbers because it dipped a little bit. This is where you create a detachment from money, where you're not giving more power to money. You are the one in power, okay? This is a very nuanced, higher level conversation about wealth, which is exactly what we're doing inside the Heart of Sales. So the people who have money understand that money is a byproduct of who they're being. You have a mission in this lifetime. And when you are so deeply committed to that mission, Money comes as a byproduct. God cuts the paycheck. The universe cuts the paycheck for you. Money is a secondary byproduct. Money does not come by just focusing on the money. Just wanting to make $1 million is not enough of a powerful movement to make money move, right? You can want to make $1 million, but it also needs to be rooted in something influential, something that sets your soul on fire, right? And when you're so focused on that, like I was sharing in the first training, I was so focused on just getting my clients results, right? I was like, I know I can help them. Let me do this. If they didn't understand something or if they wanted to figure something out, I would go and figure it out. I'd buy a program on it. I'd get training on it. I would study them. I remember I would have documents and folders on my clients. I would study them and exactly what would help them, right? What would serve them. And this was during the pandemic when everyone was lying on their couch and eating cheese and crackers and drinking wine. I'm 5 years sober, right? I started my business 5 years ago when the rest of the world was like, let me just take this time to veg out. I was like, I'm building this mission that's going to change the world. And it's why I have what I have. Are you moving at the rate of $30,000 a month, cash months? Because here's the thing, money also doesn't lie. It's energy. So when someone's making $30,000 cash months, I can tell how they're moving. I don't even need to know much about them to know you're moving really big. You have high standards for yourself. You are constantly, you've gotten knocked down and you get right back up over and over and over again. And you have a high tolerance for pain and discomfort. You have a high emotional intelligence, or you're working at it. You're continuing to work at it. I can tell without even having a conversation. I just know if someone's making that amount of money, approximately, they live their lives in a certain kind of way. And if you can really understand this and take for a moment, put aside the judgments and the projections and all the things that we hear from a very wounded society that loves to demonize money. If we can for a second just put that aside and look at the habits of broke people and look at the habits of millionaires and billionaires, there is a clear difference. There is a very clear difference in the way that people move. And my job, because I work with heart-centered women entrepreneurs, most of them are women of color, where we have not been given these opportunities. We did not see a powerful, conscious leader and role models who looked like us growing up. This is my work. This is what I want to create. Conscious women who are connected to their heart space, who are creating expressions of their soul's greatest purpose, making money because of that, because of who they're being, because of what they're creating in the world. And in order for us to do that, we have to be able to hold the discomfort. We have to be able to find the emotional intelligence within us to be okay with handling rejection and people misunderstanding us and people talking about us. We have to be able to hold that. We have to be able to keep stretching ourselves and not just get comfortable. You can get comfortable at $30,000 cash months. If that's something you're making every single month, you can get comfortable there too. Just like at $10,000 or just like at $1,000 or just at having your bank account be in the negatives all the time. There can be any number and we can get comfortable with that, right? And our goal, our job, because we get paid to evolve, we are being paid. Think about it. When I first started, I charged $200 for 3 months, $200 total for a 3-month package to work with me. And some people said that was too expensive for them. Okay. Right now, my mastermind is at $15,000 That's paid in full. To be in close proximity with me and to pay multi 5 figures to do so, or over 5 figures to do so, is because there is a certain level of integration and value that I have created and that has compounded over 5 years. There is knowledge and codes that I have created and unlocked over my life. And within these past several years of being in business and understanding and studying wealth energetics and sales magnetism and what gets a client to move and what gets money to move, that is a very unique, distinct way of showing up. And that is why I created the Heart of Sales. The Heart of Sales is my signature program that blends sales magnetism and wealth energetics. This is being on your highest wealth timeline. This is learning how money moves. This is learning how wealth is received. How do you not just hold money, not just receive money, but hold money and hold higher and higher and higher levels of money? This is also a conversation about capacity. Your energetic capacity is only going to be able to hold so much. So as you grow to $10,000 and $30,000 and $50,000, your capacity also needs to grow. If your capacity is not growing, you'll hit one high cash month and it'll come back down. You'll hit another high cash month and it'll come back down. Right? It's just why lottery winners go bankrupt after a couple years. They go bankrupt and then they go back to the amount of money they made right before hitting the lottery. Why? That's their energetic baseline. It's their energetic minimum. They have not learned how to expand their energetic capacity. So that's the money they're always going to make. I want for you to have a relationship with money that keeps expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding, which means your capacity needs to continue expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding. This is how you not only receive more and you allow more, you hold more, and you hold higher and higher and higher levels of cash, wealth, money. Okay, so this program covers sales, high-level sales conversations and sales strategy. It also covers wealth, right? So this is a conversation around sales, which is how do you get a client to move? How do you get dream clients to move even when you're not selling and even when you're not launching, right? So sales within the context of a custom sales process that works uniquely for your business, your offers, your product suite, your identity, who you are. And then what type of content does that look like, right? Content is what gets people in through the front gates before they can even access your coaching, your mentorship, your service, whatever it is that you offer. In order for people to access your gifts and the value that is you, that you provide inside the house, they have to get through the front gates. That's content. I don't teach content that's like, oh, here's a bunch of content prompts that you can go and plug and play. This is for you if ... I don't teach content like that. I teach content that cracks your clients open. They read one post and say, I need to hire you right now. I've had clients find me, dream about me, can't stop thinking about me, pay in full the next day to be in my highest level program. I've had people jump on one live with me where we've never even had a single conversation and wire me $13,000 paid in full to be in my mastermind. There is a way that you can articulate, not necessarily even like, this is the best way to talk about your program. Not even that. There's a way, this is both energetic and tactical, that you get to be in your identity where people are like, that is a person of power. Before you even open your mouth, there is something that oozes off of you that shows you are a person of power. And then when you speak, there is a level of truth frequency. What you say, it's not the perfect copy. It's not because you have a really great hook. It's not because you have the perfect call to action. It's not because you have perfect grammar. It's none of those things. It is the way that you know how to have nuanced conversations, high-level conversations with your dream clients. The people who will understand these very unique things, not content that's going to go viral to the masses. For most of my clients, they're not speaking to the masses. They're speaking to a very specific type of person who's ready to invest now. And when you know that and you understand that and you're in the identity, that is what allows your people to move. Even without conversations, even without sales calls or back and forth in the DMs, someone can read one post and say, I have never felt more seen. How do I pay you? My credit card is right here. I'm ready. That is a skill that we get to build. It is our responsibility as entrepreneurs to build that skill. That is what Heart of Sales is about. This is a program where you are building your skill as a salesperson who is masterful at not just the craft of coaching and mentorship, consulting, service providing, whatever it is that you offer, teaching, right? Not just masterful at that, but you're masterful at selling it, which is a different conversation. It requires a different skill set. And the way I teach it is through magnetism. You're not reaching and grasping and cold DMing people and trying to drag people off the street and hunt them down into your offers. You are magnetizing them into your world through your content, through your identity, through your leadership, through who you're being. That's what we're talking about inside the Heart of Sales. We're blending the sales conversations, the sales strategy, the sales magnetism with understanding how money works. How does money move? How do you command money? How can you influence money? And when you understand these two pieces, when you understand how to blend both of these things together, clients are leading themselves into your offers. Clients are leading themselves to checkout. Clients are not even having a conversation with you, and the first message they say is, send me the link. I'm ready to join now. Or they're just buying, and then after they buy, they say, hey, by the way, I bought, I'm in, I'm so excited. No more of the convincing and sales objections and handling all of this. It's like, that is when we're not speaking to the right person. When you're speaking to the right person who sees the value of what you are charging, sees the value of the investment of your program, of your service, of your offer, you don't have to have a conversation. They're already in. This is high ticket sales and a higher caliber of sales that is focused on magnetism and attraction. And that's what we're doing inside the Heart of Sales. So this is the last day to get the Heart of Sales at $13.33. It's going up to $18.88, and then it's going to go up to $22.22. But if you jump in before tonight, midnight, it's still going to be at the $13.33 price point. There are payment plans available, so you can reach out to me. We can set up a payment plan for you. I have a couple different options, so you can DM me, and I'll send you those links. There is also a second tier. This is the VIP Mastermind tier. The Mastermind is starting next week, and it is going to give you access to 8 weeks with me together. So the Heart of Sales is going to run, and it has multiple calls. When you're inside the Mastermind, you get access to the Heart of Sales, and you get your own separate calls as well that run alongside the program. These are calls for deeper mentorship and content auditing and feedback on your sales process and your messaging and how you're selling and your identity, your leadership. I can have one conversation with someone and tell them why they're not making more money or exactly what to tweak in order to double your monthly income. That's what we're doing inside the Mastermind. The Heart of Sales is going to be very focused on teaching, and the Mastermind is very focused on mentorship, getting the mentorship and close proximity support from me so I can get my eyes and ears inside your offers, inside your product suite. And I'm keeping it a very small group. So it's actually going to be capped at 10 women or 10 people, right? And we have 4 spots left right now. So if you'd like to jump in, let me know. The mastermind's at $33.33. That's about to go up as well. Or if you just want the program, not the mastermind, just the teaching modules that you get lifetime access to, that's at $13.33, and that's going up tonight. So if you have any questions, you want to talk about it further, you can send me a DM. The links are also in my bio, and they will be rising after tonight. So jump in while you can. If you have any questions, you want payment plan links, send me a message. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for day 2. I will see you on Friday for our 3rd and last day of the Flying to 50K Months Masterclass. I'll see you later.